The job market is poor. Donald Trump is going to drive away all Indians. Trump got shot at. What does it mean to me? Well, at this point, there's a lot of negative sentiment about pursuing an education in the US. But I'd suggest that you throw all of that information out of the window because I'm going to tell you why it might be the best time to apply for a master's degree in the US and start in the fall of 2025. Now, I might get a lot of hate for this video, but what I'm going to tell you is based on common sense and rationale and not sensationalism. So 2 or 3 years later, when you're thriving in your career, you will thank me. Alright, so where is this argument coming from? I have multiple reasons. The first one is as follows. A recession or a poor job market is a good time to be in university as opposed to being in the job market. Common sense, right? We've seen in the past, even in the 2008 recession, which is the Great Recession, and possibly the most severe recession that our generation might have observed or seen. Even then, students who started out in MBA programs or master's programs or in college in 2008, graduating into the job market in 2010, were met with a job market which was in the upswing. This is especially true for large economies. India is a large economy, the US is a larger economy. Large economies don't stay down for a long period of time. They move in upward and downward curves like a sine curve. So everything that goes down eventually comes up, and you can expect that the job market will certainly recover by the time you graduate. Also keep in mind that the job market today has little to do with the job market at the time you will be graduating. You'll start college sometime 2025 August, you'll be graduating at the end of 2026 or the middle of 2027. That is 2.5 to 3 years away. Economies don't stay down or for that matter up for such a long duration, certainly not large economies like the US. Just a quick point here. I've been speaking to admissions committees and career services at the top universities because we are fortunate enough to have relations with them. And they're saying that the job market even now is pretty strong as long as you're at top schools. Most students have been securing internships. But I'm not going to deny that the job market now is challenging. The most challenging it has been in the last few years. But that is not going to continue for 2.5 or 3 years. I'm not a CS undergrad, but I want to break into a coding role in the US. What is the difference between data science and data analytics? I want to move into core artificial intelligence and machine learning. Well, if you are one of these folks who have any of these broad questions, then you should not miss this webinar. We are hosting a masterclass that compares MIS, business analytics, data analytics, and data science programs. These are perhaps the strongest programs at this point in time in the US for job opportunities. So join my co-founder Suraj, a Carnegie Mellon data science grad, on the 27th of July at 6 p.m. You don't want to miss this. Point number 2, the competition to make it to top universities might be lower this time. Due to various concerns, the sheer number of applicants considering top universities in the US is lower. Of course, this is due to misinformation, like I'm justifying in this video. But if you are applying now, maybe the chance of you making to a top tier university is a little higher. Secondarily, a lot of universities are still keeping the GRE optional at this point in time. Therefore, if you have exam phobia or if you've been working for a few years and simply can't go back into test prep, then you can apply to top universities and even get in with an optional test score. This was never the case in the US before the pandemic, and this might change soon as the world is moving back into normalcy. But without a GRE score and with lower competition, perhaps this is your best chance of making to a top tier program. Point number 3 deals with supply and demand. Now, the job market in 2021 and 2022 was booming overall. The reason was there were not too many people who joined master's programs because it was in the peak of the pandemic. And when job demand was up post the pandemic, there was simply not enough graduates coming through. Therefore, this ties into my first point as well. When a poor market is a good time to go and do a degree. Even now, because there might be fewer students enrolling at universities, the number who will be graduating into the job market 1.5 or 2 years later is also going to be lesser. Now, when the job markets will eventually recover at that point, because of a lack of supply of students, there will be a larger opportunity pool and also potentially better starting salaries. There is a very, very strong chance that this could happen for you. Now, point number 4 may be good or may be bad. It depends on where your mindset's at. The point is that the US, irrespective of what regime is going to come in, is moving to more of a merit-based visa system. The current Biden administration has created a new policy where duplicate H-1B applications that are filed by fraudulent job consultancies are being weeded out. You can check out that video in detail by clicking on the link right here. Irrespective of the regime coming in, you will have to understand that only people securing legitimate jobs at companies that file for H-1Bs legitimately will be eligible for the visa soon enough. I'm also going to address the elephant into the room. Perhaps the part of the video that you're waiting to listen to, what if President Trump comes back into power? You'll have to understand that the job market between 2016 and 2020 was incredibly strong. The entire Trump campaign is based on economic growth, and you'd have seen that immediately after the assassination attempt, after the image of Trump raising his fist was put out, the US markets rallied tremendously. They hit highs that were not seen in the last few months. This was because of the positive sentiment that a Trump administration is going to push forward corporate growth because they are very, very pro-tech and pro-economic growth. Now, again, this is common sense. If economic growth is on the agenda and if tech companies are happy and they see a growth potential in the future, they will want to hire talent. And where does this talent come from? Invariably, it's going to be highly skilled workers on the H-1B visas, and even more invariably, these are Indian students. Alright, so these were my reasons. Once again, understand, I'm not here to promote the US as a country. In fact, I'm nobody to promote the US, which is the largest economy in the world. As a company, Gradvine helps applicants to the US, the Netherlands, France, Germany, countries in Asia, Australia. We help out for all countries, right? So wherever you apply, for us, the business remains the same. But I'm here to try and educate the audience, not to fall prey to sensationalism, because you might be losing out on a lot of good opportunities because of the false information floating around. Now, if you like this video, please drop a like. If you hated it, please drop a comment, but please do engage.